welcome back to my channel, Karen Bonafilio, Outer Realms, Inner Journeys. Guess who we have back today? We have Kristen.
Hello.
Yeah. And guess what we're going to discuss today? Not psychic mediumship or anything like that. We're going to talk about crystals.
Yes.
And how many of you out there have crystals? Raise your hand. I imagine many of you do. Yes. So I'm going to ask her a few questions and I'm just going to let her take over and give you a whole bunch of information. Are you ready, Kristen?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. First of all, what sparked your interest in crystals and minerals?
When I was little, my dad had a collection of rocks and things like that. And I always thought they were so pretty, but I didn't really understand why. And when my psychic abilities just came through like water going through a dam, it really sparked my interest to look into things like that.
Really?
Yeah. So that was why I investigated that. I researched everything that I could find. I looked things up. It was far enough back where Google really wasn't a thing. So I had to go looking for the stuff.
Yeah.
And I printed out things that I found on the computer. And I had a little notebook that I had all kinds of papers in as kind of a study guide.
It sounds like you have a lot of crystals in around your house, or
I do. I don't know how many I have. They're everywhere.
okay, that's cool. So do I. I love them. I find them
Me too.
beautiful. How can crystals and minerals be used for healing purposes?
Well, each one has a different vibration, and you can feel that. Some people put different crystals on different chakras on their bodies or other people's bodies. How I use them for healing for myself is I will be intuitively drawn to a specific crystal and not really know why. And a lot of times I have it on hand. I just have to go through my stuff and I will Google or look up that particular stone just to see maybe why did I feel like today I needed to pick up that particular crystal. And sometimes it's, I'm starting to get a chest cold, something like that. Aha, that's one of the things that it can help with. And I will carry them in my pocket. I'll have a whole bunch of pendants and I will change those out and wear them like that. I just carry them with me for healing properties.
Very nice. I'm going to do that because sometimes I will be drawn to one of my crystals and pick it up, and then I'm going to go Google and see the properties and why.
A lot of times it'll click why you were drawn to that crystal.
Mhm.
And you'll hold it or carry it with you, and it just gives you a peaceful feeling.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's say people don't know about crystals and they want to learn. How do you suggest they start? Because there's a lot of crystals out there in the world and universe.
There are several different websites that are reputable with that type of thing. I would Google to see. I can't remember any offhand right now. A lot of the ones that I started with are not in business anymore, but that was a long time ago. I would Google that type of thing. I think energy something or other. Do you know Energy Wise? And I don't remember which it is. But yeah, just Google that. A lot of them, they will have ratings or whatever. My cat's on my lap again. And just go that route. But
I'm glad Simon feels comfortable.
It's Simon. There's Simon. He likes your voice.
He's a handsome boy.
Thank you. I've had him since he was born. I petted him while his mommy was pregnant with him. I petted her tummy.
How old is he now?
He is 4.5.
Oh.
They had to come live inside. He and his sisters had to come live inside because they were not going to make it outside. She was a first-time mommy and she wasn't taking care of them. So they had to come live inside.
Tracy, yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
She still has 2 kitties.
They're so cute. And I had the intention of fostering these cats and adopting them out, and it didn't happen.
You just love them too much.
I couldn't do it. I had to keep them.
That's okay. All right, tell me about the crystals that you're going to share today.
Okay. Well, the other day I wrote down some notes to give myself some kind of direction for this. And I wrote down 4 different crystals just as examples. The first one I wrote down is rose quartz, and I have this. Somebody sent this to me. And I really, really like it. It's rose quartz. And I wrote down some things about the different crystals. For instance, the color, like the rose quartz usually is pink, and it can vary in the intensity of the pink. Sometimes they can even look kind of just washed out. They have a warm, loving energy, and they are known to attract love into your life. So we have that rose quartz.
I always heard that was a love crystal.
Yes, yes. And this one's a heart too. And it's kind of heavy, but I've carried it in my pocket before. I like it. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, and I wrote down black tourmaline. Here's this.
wow.
Yeah, they are black in color and they are terrific for protection. They can absorb negativity. If you're having, hi, Simon, if you're having a rotten day, or, it can absorb the negativity even from yourself. It can repel it from other people or situations, which that's really beneficial. And I love this stone.
Do you have to hold it or can it just be near you?
Either one. You can even have these just, and this is just kind of a chunk. They come in, there's pendants, there's just tumbled stones, there's all kinds of stuff, but you can carry it with you. You could put it in the room where you are. I've got several on my desk. It just whatever you intuitively feel like where to put this, where it needs to be, one of those things. And I've got citrine here. Here's a little citrine.
I love citrine.
Yes, this is a tumbled citrine.
Mm-hmm.
They are yellow in color and they again can vary. Like this one's kind of clear. It's got a clear spot to it. And this is a sunny and bright crystal. It can bring luck and abundance. I have read that, yes.
I need citrine.
Yes. Well, I've read that there are some people, little like business owners, that will put this in the cash register, and that is supposed to bring luck, money, that type of thing. So this is a really good crystal too.
I don't think I have citrine. As many crystals as I have, I don't have citrine. So
well, Christmas is coming up. Okay. And I wrote down amethyst. This is an amethyst cluster that I've had for years. I've got all kinds of, thank you. I have stuff everywhere. But again, this can vary in color as well. It's purple. It can boost intuition. This one is kind of a, well, not necessarily this one, the cluster. I've got another one here. I think this is called a window amethyst. They can come in all kinds of different shapes and all that. But this is kind of the overall crystal. It can help with intuition. It can help if you're having nightmares. I have read online it's supposed to help with drunkenness. I've never had a problem with that, but hey, if it works. It can also be a protective stone. So those are.
You called that a special kind of amethyst. What was that word?
This was a window amethyst, and I believe that's just because it's kind of shaved off right here. Okay. That's all. It's just the shape of it. It's just an amethyst. And like this is the amethyst cluster. And I'll talk about clusters later on.
May I show you something?
Why, yes.
I bought this for my husband.
That's so pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
Yes.
And this part for him. Yeah, and I keep it on my desk.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. I just got chills again all the way down. Okay. Well, and in my notes too, did you want me to go ahead and go through the notes, or did you want to ask some questions?
However you want it to go. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Well, I can just
the notes and then I could ask some questions.
There you go. That'd be good. Okay. Well, I wrote down some things. The first one was allowing your intuition to draw you to certain crystals and stones. That's how I would recommend you pick out whatever it is. There are different stores, different shops you can go into. And just like I was talking about earlier, if you're drawn to a certain stone or crystal, you Google why. It's kind of the same thing if you go into a shop. You might find yourself just walking directly to a display and looking at a certain crystal. And that's really how I would recommend that you pick them. And a lot of times it'll be different ones, just for different reasons. I have bought and acquired different crystals and stones and didn't have any idea why. And I'd put them back, didn't really mess with them. And then later on, it was because I needed to gift them to someone else. Yes. I had what was it? Zebra stone. That's what it is. And I had it for years and I didn't know why. It was one of those. I bought it and I put it back. And years later, I did some candle healing and programmed that crystal and gave it to one of my husband's friends who was having some medical issues. And yeah, he still carries that with him. I sent it to work with my husband in a little pouch and he carries it with him still.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I know that when you go in a crystal store, it can be overwhelming. there are so many gorgeous things. And I like the idea is go with what you're drawn to. Not
Yes.
necessarily what you think you want, but what you're drawn to.
Well, I mean, you could do that too, but it'll probably do better for you if you use your intuition and, and sometimes it's the same thing. I love sparkly stuff. So, that's what I'm going to look at first. And then maybe after I get that out of my system, go look for some other things.
Kind of see what you like. Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yes. And one of the things that I wrote on here as an example, and this is an example, I've done this before, and this is, letting your intuition point you in the right direction for what stone. I actually wrote down example, you may be drawn to blue lace agate, but you aren't sure why. And after some research, you learn that blue lace agate can calm emotions in certain situations. And you remember that you've been feeling stressed by a work commitment. So that's an example of doing that, and it will click afterward.
Very nice. Very nice.
And I wrote down how to cleanse crystals. That's a big thing too. There are different ways to do that.
Okay.
And the first thing I want to say that's extremely important, if you're not sure if your crystal or stone can go into water, research that before you try it. Some stones will deteriorate and become damaged if you place them in water. For instance, selenite, and I've got a great big bar of selenite here. And I mean, you couldn't put this really in water anyway, but this is, yes, it's huge. This is an example of one of the stones that cannot get wet. It should not get wet because it will damage the stone.
Doesn't that tend to break off too, the
yes.
selenite? Yeah.
Yes, it does. And the black tourmaline, it must be the structure of it. It does the same thing. I'll find little pieces of this on the little piece just fell off. But I've got a pendant that's been tumbled that doesn't do that. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at my little notes here.
That's great.
Cleansing the crystals, and I need to flip over my notes here. And the big thing was check and make sure that they can go in water before you try that. And I just showed the selenite bar, this ginormous bar. This is something that you can use to cleanse and clear your crystals as well. You can get a bar like this, you can get a wand. They come out, they have discs. There's all kinds of shapes. You can place your crystals or stones on top of this, and this will clear the energy as well. So this is something, if you've got a stone that doesn't need to go into the water, this is an option.
Very cool. I know you haven't told us how to clean it, so I'm going to wait for my question.
Okay. Well, and I showed the amethyst cluster earlier.
Yeah.
This is another thing that you can use to cleanse crystals. Again, if something can't go in the water, you can place it on top of a cluster. It doesn't have to be an Amazon. Oh my God. I've been shopping. An amethyst cluster, just, anything like this, place it on top of there. And I wouldn't say there's any kind of time constraint, just how long you feel. You can leave it on there overnight, couple hours, whatever you intuitively feel. And I've talked a lot about water.
Yeah.
And what I've done when I first started doing this, I was gung-ho and I needed to know all the exact, how do you do this? Yeah, because I do that. I have to research everything just in general, and I want to know. And I would put the crystals that I acquired in a big bowl, and I would go to the store and buy spring water. And I would put the spring water and you don't have to do all that. That's how I started doing things. You don't have to do that. You can take, and again, make sure it's okay. Take your crystal or stone, hold it, put it underneath running tap water. That works just as well. And while you're holding it, you can have the intention of, that it's clearing away all the residual energy. If you used it for some kind of candle healing.
Can you sage it? Can you smudge?
Yes, that's one of the things too. That's the next thing I've got written down on my notes.
Really?
Yes, you can use smoke.
I'm going to go smudge all my crystals.
Yes, you can use like Palo Santo. You can use sage. Just anything something like that you feel comfortable using. Yeah, it would just think of it like you would be smudging yourself or your room. Same idea. Get, the smoke around it and the intention that you're clearing the object. And this is another one that's super easy if you don't have anything. You can use your breath.
Really?
Yes, you can hold on to the crystal and you breathe on it. Oh, you
Really?
breathe in really big and you breathe out with the intention that you're clearing the crystal or stone. So that's something that you can do if you don't have anything with you. And
I
that's
know
just really
that.
easy. Yeah.
I remember reading that you had to take them out, I think on a full moon and put them outside and all that. And I did that a couple times. But it was so much to move out there. I thought, oh no, I just can't do this.
Well, I've got some friends that do that. They will set up tables and they will put stuff on the tables. I
Yes.
haven't done that myself. I have put them in a windowsill on a full moon and just had my fingers crossed that the cats wouldn't knock them out. But that's something that you can do. I've also heard of people burying in the ground a stone to cleanse it. I haven't done that myself, but some people do that. They've buried it in salt. So if you've got, just a little bowl of salt, you can
Yeah.
place that in there, and that's easy too. I haven't done that, but I know people that have, and it works.
Well, I'm going to smudge.
Yeah, and it's good to even smudge yourself.
Oh, I do that.
Me too. I use the Palo Santo to smudge myself occasionally. And I can feel the difference. I feel lighter. I just feel better. I don't feel just kind of, drugged down.
We should probably explain what smudging is.
Do you want to do that now or do you want to do that on another one?
I'll do that right now. Let's do it now since we're talking about it.
Okay. That's just something I know Native Americans, that's something that's sacred to them. White sage is sacred to them. I use Palo Santo and it's the same idea of a Palo Santo stick. And let's see here. I have this too that somebody sent to me. I have found that I've got a lighter. Well, I don't want to do this because I don't have anything to stick it in right now. But to light it and let it burn for a few seconds and then blow it out like an incense. Well, I can never get mine to stay lit. And if I blow it out, it doesn't blow out. It smokes. It will stay like that and it will smoke. Yeah. And you just, all around, just the same thing as if you're going to smudge and sage your house. The idea is to get smoke just all around you with the intention of, you're clearing the energy, anything that's negative, that type of thing. And I was going to say,
recommend that.
Just as often as you feel like you need to. There's no set schedule. If you want to do it every day, go for it. If you want to do it once a month, okay. It's just whatever you feel like you need to do. And with this, it's really important to put it in some sort of heat resistant thing to place it down into. I have a shell. I have several of them.
Me too.
Yeah, they're just cool. And when you're done, I always run it under the water to make sure that it's out because I don't want to leave it someplace and it still burn. Because with these, you can't really tell if they're burnt out. It's not like a match or a candle. Yeah, just make sure that you're safe with that type of thing.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
When I started smudging, not just crystals, I got a feather, and I think it's an eagle. I don't know. It's illegal to have eagle feathers, I think, but there's a feather on it, and I use that too when I go around the house.
Yes. That's just something that, you can go ahead and do that as it's kind of a ritual, and that could be part of it.
Yeah, I do it to myself also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got feathers like that too. No, you're fine. I do think that eagle feathers are illegal to have. I think that's a Native American thing. Yeah. And I'm not sure about the laws and such, but yeah, anything to do with certain animals, just don't do it.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And the next thing I've got written down is programming your crystals. That's something that you can do. You don't have to, but I would recommend clearing them first. And again, this is something later. You don't have to do that, but I would recommend it.
Okay.
Programming your crystals. If you're right-handed, that would be considered your power hand. Now, I don't know. There's probably other names for it, but I'm right-handed, so that's the hand that's going to put out the energy. My left hand, that's your receptive hand. Because I'm right-handed, my left hand. So if you're left-handed, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
And I've got my little window amethyst here. Hold it in your power hand whichever, if you're left-handed, it's that. If you're right-handed, it's your right hand.
And
And
if
with
it's too big, you could just put your hand on it.
oh yeah, you can put both your hands on it, just whatever, as long as you're touching it. And with the intention, send energy. It's kind of like a meditation. It's what you think and you make it happen. So you're going to be thinking, oh, if you want this to help with sleeping, if you want it to help to prevent nightmares, that's what you're going to hold it, and that's what you're going to be thinking. That's how you're going to program it. And I would suggest that you do this when you're not around, a bunch of commotion. You can just, be by yourself, and you're going to hold that. When I do things like this, my hands will get warm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's probably normal. Other people, I don't know if that happens to them. All kinds of weird stuff happens to me. When I'm doing healing work, candle healing things, my hands will vibrate. They'll get warm and they'll vibrate. So when you're doing this, it's normal for your hands to get warm. And, when you're done, it's, again, just an intuition thing. There's no time limit. And then you can, you're done with the intention of, I would like to sleep tonight. And you can say thank you to whatever, the universe, the divine, whatever you would like to call. And, thank you, the divine, and then you can go on about your day. But that's an example of how to program.
So you kind of have to know the properties of the crystal and
yes,
what they stand for to be able to set those intentions.
Kind of. There are some crystals that are universal, like clear quartz that can be used for anything. So you can program that for whatever you want to. And, like a rose quartz, like this one. There you go. That is clear quartz. And that is clear quartz as well.
So I can program this.
Yes.
For anything.
For anything. And also, clear quartz is kind of an amplifier for other stones.
So I should be careful or cognizant of where I place this.
That's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you accidentally place it beside something, I don't think anything bad's going to happen. But you can intentionally use that to amplify other things. I don't have it on, a clear quartz pendant. And for me, I can't wear it. I don't know why. It gives me a headache. Every time I try to put it on, it gives me a headache.
Really?
And some people are just like that. Some people are sensitive to certain things. And that's something that you just find out along the way.
I also heard that if it's a real stone, that it's cold.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
there are. Yeah, and depending on what kind of crystal or stone it is, like clear quartz is very cold. You can feel that. Kind of like a marble. Like if I had a marble top dresser at one time. It's just, it's cold. And that's how that will feel. Different ones will have different degrees of the coldness. But there are a lot of fake crystals and stones out too, especially online.
Yeah.
And you can tell sometimes by looking at it, a lot of times by holding or touching something like that. Sometimes they're glass, sometimes they're plastic, sometimes they've been dyed to look like something. So if you think you're going to get an amethyst and it's super, super, super purple, chances are good that it's been dyed to look like that. So that's something else to be aware of, to try to acquire crystals or stones, or to use crystals or stones that are authentic, that are real, because I wouldn't think that if you got a plastic rose quartz and try to program it, I'm not really sure it would do a whole lot for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I think it's great fun to go in a crystal store.
Oh, yes.
Gosh, and see which ones speak to me.
Yes.
Because I will walk in, I go, yes, I want that crystal. Do the shapes mean anything? Because we got spheres or
they do.
We got, I don't know, pyramids. I don't know what they are.
Oh, I've got a pyramid somewhere.
Pointy ones.
Crap. I don't know where it is. I've got like this. Here's sorry for moving around everywhere. A fluorite angel. My sister gave this to me a long, long, long time ago. They can come in. Yeah. Huh?
I like fluorite.
I do too.
One of my favorite stones.
Me too. And I've got a pendant of that as well.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Yes. So they do the different. They can be in different shapes, and they do have different meanings. Like this rose quartz is in a heart. That goes right along with
the love.
What this stone, its properties are, what it can be used for. I probably should have looked for more things before I got on here. But they do. They do have different meanings. And it probably would be good to just Google that, research it, because I offhand, I can't really, talk about all that, what a pyramid would do, what this would do. So I would recommend Googling that and researching it.
And I don't know either. I just know I have both and I enjoy both.
Well, I've got it's small, a little amethyst pyramid. And that I feel like that is to direct energy. It kind of intensifies the energy of the amethyst. Let's see. Oh, here's
So
something.
I have a tiger's eye pyramid. And
that would be cool.
It's really pretty. And I have my goals written on a piece of paper, and that rests on it until I pick
That
up
is
my
so
goals to read
cool.
them.
Yeah, I just turned around and got this off of a little thing. This is a rose quartz tower.
Tower, that's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Tower.
I've got all, and see how this is they're just different degrees of pink with the rose quartz. And I've noticed something too. When I program different stones, for instance, a rose quartz, it can look just washed out and just kind of pitiful.
Yeah.
And when I program it, I can actually see a color change in it.
Really?
It looks, yes, and I thought, well, that's weird. How'd that happen? But I've seen it several times. They get more rosy colored, gets more pink. And I don't know how that happens, but it sounds weird, but I've seen it happen.
I'm going to go play with all my crystals.
Going into a crystal shop, I feel like a little kid in like a toy store or a candy store. I walk in and I know my eyes just get bigger, like, wow, I love it. There's so many things in there.
They give off a lot of energy when you're in that store too.
They do, but to me, it's not overwhelming. I love it. It's open. It's just like a little kid in a candy store.
Do you place stones on your body?
I have before. I don't really do chakra healing like that. I know some people do. I have, and I've said before, I've got all kinds of different pendants and I've got different lengths of necklaces. So I've got asthma, and if I'm having an issue where that's kind of being a jerk, I have put a pendant on kind of in that area.
Oh, good.
And that seems to help with that type of thing. So yes, I guess I have.
And I remember lapis. Lapis lets you speak your truth. So
yes.
A lot of people will have a lapis pendant.
Oh, for your throat chakra, yes. Mm-hmm. That helps to open things up where you don't feel so restricted.
Right.
A lapis is a really terrific stone. For me, it tends to be kind of powerful. When I first started doing this, my sister gave me a lapis, and it was almost too much for me in the beginning.
You had to work your way into it.
I really did, because it was kind of overpowering. It was kind of uncomfortable for me to carry that around or to even be holding it. And now it kind of makes me feel like a student where you're learning all kinds of things. Things are opening up. And it does give you your power back. I
know that when I go into settings where I don't know a lot of people, I have a necklace that I wear.
It probably helps give you kind of confidence. Is there a certain stone in that necklace?
It's lapis.
Ah, there you go.
All lapis. All.
Oh, I bet that's pretty. Yeah, that's something else that the viewers could Google and research, are the different chakras in the body and what they stand for and what they mean. And like we were talking about the throat chakra and the crystals that can help with that. You've got different chakras all over, and they go along with things like that.
Yeah. This is fascinating. It really is.
Oh, stuff like that is so interesting to me. I feel like a little kid at school that's learning things, how that's exciting.
Me too. I enjoy it. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to say? Anything that I missed that you would like to add on?
Well, I'm looking at my notes here. I taped them up so I could look a little more professional, and it doesn't seem to be helping. It's not working real well.
We don't care. Honey Badger don't care.
Yay. Thank you for being so forgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. I talked a little bit about this. This is kind of like the conclusive paragraph of a theme from school. I wrote down, if you don't have time to cleanse and program your crystal or stone, that's okay. You can still carry it with you or wear it. As you place it in your pocket or put it on a necklace, for example, you can think of what you would like for it to do or like for it to help you with. Sorry about that.
Very nice.
But yeah, that's something you don't have to, with the spiritual and the intuitive things. You really don't have to follow any kind of script. if you don't have time to do that, if I'm about to walk out the door to go to the grocery store or something like that, and I feel like, oh, you know what, I need to go grab this pendant. And there, I know there's a reason why. I better put it on. I'll find out later. I grab it and I can put it on. I don't need to clear it and cleanse it and program it. You can just grab it and go.
Yeah, and you listen to your intuition.
Exactly. Most of the time, your intuition is going to help you. It is there to help you and to assist you. And sometimes it's hard to trust yourself and to listen to that. But it's really beneficial if you can get to that point.
I know sometimes you think, gosh, am I just making this up?
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish, especially if you're upset. If emotions are running high, that makes it a little more difficult. But if you have some sort of inkling to do something, your intuition's telling you something, please try to follow it, and you can say thank you, because you're being sent that for a reason, and it's out of love.
Wonderful. Our team takes care of us.
Really does. Yeah. Our team are, friends and family that are in spirit. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. Kristen, I thank you for coming on. I always love having you. You
Well,
always
thank
have
you for
a
having
wealth
me.
of knowledge. Yeah.
Why, thank you.
So we'll talk later.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay.